Have you ever seen those Shark Tank episodes where inventors come out with some piece of equipment trying to get rich by selling those machines? Well, today we're going to talk about a real-life version of that, only this time the machine wasn't useless. It just didn't do what the inventor said it did, and the founder of this company is one of the richest people in the world. Her name is Elizabeth Holmes. So Elizabeth Holmes grew up in Washington, D.C., and from an early age she was interested in science and technology. She was particularly fascinated with voice recognition software and artificial intelligence. In high school, she wrote a program that allowed blind people to use their phones more easily, and when she got to college, she initially wanted to major in chemical engineering, but quickly switched to a more business-oriented curriculum while in college. She took a class called Engineering and Society, which she loved so much that she wrote her senior thesis about it. But unfortunately, her professors thought it was a little too similar to another student's thesis, and they both ended up getting a C. Elizabeth was not pleased with that grade, especially because she had convinced herself that she was destined to greatness. After graduating, Elizabeth got a job at a biotech company called Genentech and then moved on to a medical supplies company called Applied Biosystems. There she learned a lot about running a business and also made a good friend named Sunny Balwani, who was 10 years her senior and worked in finance. The two started dating and eventually he became CEO of her new company, Theranos. In 2003, Elizabeth came up with the idea for Theranos while she was taking a class at the University of Michigan. She was frustrated about having to say wake up in the middle of the night for a blood test. So she thought to herself, why can't I get the same results with just a few drops of blood instead of having to draw so much blood? If she could accomplish that, she would revolutionize the medical industry. And so Elizabeth dropped out of her doctoral program, moved back to California, and started working on her idea. The problem was she didn't really know anything about blood testing or medicine, so she hired some experts and started running some tests. At first, her device seemed to work great. It could accurately measure certain hormones and proteins in the blood, but soon after, her device started giving wildly inaccurate results, sometimes overestimating values by thousands. Undeterred, Elizabeth decided to keep moving forward with the business. In 2004, she recruited her old friend Sunny Balwani to be her business partner. He helped her raise $6 million in venture capital funding, and together they set out to make Elizabeth's dream a reality. Sunny, who had never worked in a lab before, was put in charge of product development, and Elizabeth was put in charge of marketing and sales. The problem was Elizabeth's product didn't actually work, so she spent most of her time just giving big presentations and demonstrations to potential investors, telling them that her Edison machine could test for hundreds of different diseases using just a few drops of blood. And these big presentations paid off. By 2008, Theranos was valued at $400 million. By 2013, it was valued at $9 billion. And by 2014, Elizabeth was on the cover of Forbes magazine. With all this money rolling in, Elizabeth and Sunny were able to buy expensive equipment to try to make her idea work, but they couldn't get it to work accurately no matter what. Finally, in 2015, some investigative reporters started looking into Theranos, and they discovered that Elizabeth's machine didn't actually work. Soon after, government regulators shut down the company, and Elizabeth was forced to pay a $250 million fine. She was also criminally charged, but thanks to her celebrity status, she was able to get most of those charges dropped. She was only convicted of conspiring to defraud investors, and she served 11 months of house arrest. Today, Elizabeth is worth almost $1 billion. She reinvented the medical industry by making investors millions, even though her intentions were not malicious. What do you think? Leave it in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe and like the video. It really helps. the channel, and as always, thanks for watching.